Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So thank you for joining. Today actually is New Year's Eve, of course, but also it's the disappearance days of three devotees. Yesterday was Devananda Pandit, and today it is Mahesh Pandit and Uddharana Thakur. So it's always good to remember these great souls and get their blessings on their appearance days and also their disappearance days. We celebrate both because on their appearance day, it means they've come to enlighten us. And on the disappearance day, it means they've gone back to the Supreme Lord, which is also a cause for celebration. So very important to remember these great souls and get their blessings. And we can learn many things from their lives. So let's have a look at Devananda Pandit. Who was he? He's in the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, over 500 years ago. Devananda Pandit lived in Navadvip Dham, in the section known as Kuliya or Koladvip, near where the present-day Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math of Sri Sridhar Swami is now located.
Prabhuji, Navadvip is a place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born.
Yeah, same place.
Can I tell some auspicious places in Mayapur?
Sorry?
Prabhuji, there are two auspicious places in Mayapur. First is the neem tree where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu grew, and second is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's house.
Yeah, but there's also many others. There's Srivas Angam.
Yes, Prabhuji, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to dance every night.
That's it.
And you told us the story about when they were dancing in Srivas Thakur's home, a boy did.
That's right. That's right.
So they all cried, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted Hare Krishna and that boy was enlivened again.
That's right. That's a really special pastime. Very important one. I'm glad you remember that. Then there's the Jagannath temple, Rajapur, a very nice temple. There's many places. Chandkazi Samadhi. Sorry? Yeah, this Jagannath temple is very special. We'll talk about it one day. Very nice temple. Very special deities. Very special deities. Huh? Okay. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used him, Devananda Prabhu, to manifest the glories of Bhagavad Puran. So this Bhagavad is very important, right? So we're going to see the glories of the Bhagavad Puran today. Devananda was known as the foremost lecturer, professional reciters. He would get paid money to recite the Srimad Bhagavad Puran, which is not actually a good thing. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu one day heard him in his early days in Navadvip, because Devananda was preaching Mayavad philosophy, i.e. that one can merge with God, the Lord was not happy with Devananda's interpretation. One day, however, Srivas Pandit, that's the Srivas Pandit we were just talking about a few minutes ago, went to hear his discourse, and being moved in his natural ecstatic love by hearing Bhagavatam, he began to cry. A few of the ignorant students of Devananda Pandit, thinking that this was creating a disturbance, removed Srivas Pandit from the assembly and left him outside. So this is an offense to the devotee because Srivas Pandit is one of the foremost devotees at that time. Though this was done in front of Devananda, he did not restrain his students from this act of disregard to the devotee Bhagavat. So we'll see there's two types of devotees, or two types of Bhagavat, sorry.
Two types of devotees are Bhagavat and devotee Bhagavad.
That's right, the book Bhagavad and the devotee Bhagavad. For this reason, Devananda Pandit became implicated in an offense to a great devotee, Bhagavad. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to hear how his dear devotee Srivas Pandit had been disrespected, he gave many instructions as follows. He wasn't happy. Those who read the book Bhagavad but don't offer respects to the devotee Bhagavad are simply offenders. So you may read the Bhagavatam, but if you're not respecting the devotees, what's the use? Though they may read the Bhagavad for eons, still they will never attain love of God. The devotee Bhagavad and the book Bhagavad are non-different. In order to understand the book Bhagavad, one must first sincerely serve the devotee Bhagavad. So this is a really phenomenal painting where Parikshit Maharaj is being explained the Bhagavad Puran by Sukadev Goswami. And you can see in the audience, we have some exalted personalities, Narad Muni, Srila Vyasdev. So what are these glories of the Bhagavatam? They're as follows. It's the crown jewel of all revealed scriptures. It's the ripened fruit of the Vedic desire tree. So the Vedas are very vast, billions of verses. But the Bhagavad Puran is the ripened fruit, is the nectar of the Vedas. It's the literal incarnation of Krishna and of divine love. It's a natural commentary on Vedanta. Vedanta is very hard to understand, very difficult. But Bhagavad Puran is the natural commentary, so it's easy to understand the Vedanta through the Bhagavad. And also the Mahabharata, Gayatri, and the Vedas. The cream of the Vedas and the very form of Krishna. It reveals the inner meaning of Vedanta. Otherwise, we get lost in all the knowledge. We never get to the source of the root of that knowledge. But Bhagavad gives us access to that. Bhagavatam is 18,000 verses. Bhagavad Gita is 700 verses. The Vedas are billions of verses. Nobody will be able to read the Vedas in one lifetime. And if you do, you probably go mad. Purification of conditioned soul and relished by the pure devotees. So it purifies us, and this pure devotees also relish the Bhagavatam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Gadadhar Pandit would sit for hours a day reading the Bhagavad Puran. This is God himself, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Srivas, pure devotee, is known to be incarnation of Narad Muni. So if they can relish the Bhagavatam, why can't we? It's beyond sensual experience. It's inconceivable nature. It's inconceivable. It's nature of the Bhagavatam. It's understood through the devotees. It's dear to the topmost Parahamsas. The Bhagavatam promotes bhakti as the ultimate goal of life. The Bhagavatam is the essence of the four Vedas. So these are some of the glories. Where the Bhagavad Gita stops, Bhagavatam starts. Bhagavatam is regarded to be the advanced study of spiritual life. Bhagavad Gita is the basic study. Even though it's basic, it's very profound, of course. As we know, Krishna's words are a roadmap to how to live in this world and not get affected by the madness of this world. But what Bhagavatam does, immediately it puts you on a transcendental platform where Krishna stops saying, Sarva Dharma Parityajya. That's where Bhagavatam starts. So it's really phenomenal. And Prabhupada spent many years translating this Bhagavatam. He would translate sometimes right through the night or wake up very early in the morning, like 1 o'clock, and translate. He would spend so much, and we can't even be bothered to open the book. Well, we are, but generally speaking. But it's such an important book. Prabhupada spent blood, sweat, and tears getting that ready for us. So we're very lucky. And he has a brief idea of the contents of the Bhagavatam. So there's 12 cantos, and they correspond to the body of the Lord. It's none different from his body. So the 1 and 2 cantos 1 and 2 are his lotus feet, 3 and 4 are his thighs, 5 is his navel, canto 6 is his chest, canto 7 and 8 are his arms, canto 9 is his throat, canto 10 is his lotus face. And that's where we are at. Very fortunately, by the Lord's mercy, tomorrow hopefully we'll start where we left off. 11th chapter, canto, is his forehead, and the 12th canto is his head. And very, very briefly, what are the overall, the basic content of the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavatam, is its glorification of the Lord and his pastimes with his devotees. Not just Krishna, but many different lords. But Krishna is the focus, especially in the 10th canto. So the first 2 cantos deal with Visarga, Sarga, creation, the primary creation, the secondary creation, and maintenance, destruction as well. 3 and 4 deal with, again, different aspects of creation, and also the pastimes of Varaha discussed. Canto 5 gives us the geography of the universe, which is pretty complex. Canto 6, we get some really amazing pastimes. The pastime of Ajameo is one of those foremost pastimes, showing the glories of the holy name. Then his arms, 7 and 8, are, again, they're wonderful pastimes. Krishna, the Manvantaras are described. Many devotees' pastimes are in these. Canto number 9 is Ramachandra comes in, and there's a description of the sun and the moon dynasties. 10th canto is, we just said, Krishna's pastimes. 11th canto talks about liberation and has this Uddhav Gita, very important. Also describes how Krishna left this world and how the Yadus also left. And the 12th canto gives some predictions about Kali Yuga. So this is in essence the Bhagavatam. It's definitely worth reading once in our life, if not many times, and studying. So, carrying on. Although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastised Devananda severely for his Mayavad interpretation of the Bhagavad and his treatment of the devotee Bhagavad, Srivas Pandit, Devananda had little faith in Gauranga. So the Lord neglected Devananda, didn't bestow any mercy on him. Vakeshwar, an incarnation of Anirudh, one of the quadruple expansions of Vishnu, an associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from the beginning of his pastimes in Navadvip, was responsible for the deliverance of Devananda. So he shows the importance of the devotee. Even one may have offended the Lord, but a devotee can actually protect us from that offense and actually get us back on good terms with the Lord. Sometime later, one evening, Vakeshwar Pandit came to perform dancing and chanting of the holy names at the house of one devotee from Kulya, across the bank of the Ganga from Nadia. Receiving this auspicious news, Devananda proceeded there, and upon seeing the appearance of the symptoms of divine love in the person of Vakeshwar Pandit, he became charmed. Gradually, a great crowd gathered at that place, and Devananda Pandit, taking a cane in his hand, kept the crowd in order so as to not to obstruct the ecstatic dancing of Vakeshwar Pandit. When he finished dancing, Devananda came, offered his dandavats at the lotus feet of Vakeshwar. Vakeshwar became pleased with Devananda's service and blessed him. Krishna Bhakti Hok, may you obtain devotion to Lord Krishna. From that day, devotion was awakened in the heart of Devananda. Thereafter, when Mahaprabhu came to Nadia, he bestowed his mercy on Devananda at Kulya. Because you have served Vakeshwar, I have noticed you. Vakeshwar is fully imbued with the Lord's transcendental energy, and whoever becomes devoted to him attains to the lotus feet of Krishna. His heart is the personal abode of Sri Krishna. And as Sri Krishna dances, so Vakeshwar also dances. Wherever one can get the association of Vakeshwar, that place is the sum total of all holy places and is as good as Vaikuntha. Hearing these words of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Devananda was overwhelmed with the sentiments of bhakti and stating that he had committed great sins against divinity and had failed to worship the Lord. At that time, Gauranga gave Devananda many instructions about the Bhagavatam, but he also said, you have committed an offense at the lotus feet of Srivas Pandit. You must go to him and beg forgiveness at his lotus feet. There's no difference between the book Bhagavat and the Bhakta Bhagavat. If you get the mercy of the Bhakta Bhagavat, then you will easily attain the mercy of the book Bhagavat. Having thus heard the words of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Devananda Pandit immediately went to Srivas Thakur and begged forgiveness for his offenses. At that time, Srivas Thakur embraced Devananda and forgave his offenses. From that day on, Devananda Pandit was accepted in the midst of followers of Mahaprabhu as a great devotee. Devananda Pandit's disappearance day falls on the dark moon Ekadashi. So that was yesterday. So we seek his blessings to continue with the Bhagavatam, hopefully tomorrow. Devananda Pandit ki jai. Mahesh Pandit is the next who disappeared today. He was one of the Dwadash Gopals, so 12, one of the main 12 cowherd boys who had wonderful pastimes with Sri Krishna. So he also came at the time of Mahaprabhu. His home was first situated in Masipur, across the river from Jirat on the eastern bank of the Ganga. Due to falling into the Ganga, the resting place for Mahesh Pandit's Shripat is in Kangal Puli. So we'll see that in a minute. Mahesh Pandit's Shripat is a small construction in the style of an ordinary residential building. It houses Gauranitai deities as well as Sri Gopinath Madan Mohan, Radha Govind and Shaligram Sheela. In front of the temple building is a memorial to Mahesh Pandit. And that's his Pushpa Samadhi. So this is Gauranitai. There will be Radha Krishna, Radha Gopinath. And there's Shaligram here. Just about make it out. So this is at his birthplace. And this looks like a residential home, basically. But this is where the deities are situated. These places are preserved for historical significance. And this is his resting place, the Samadhi. He's also considered to be a branch. So these branches are very important aspects of Gauranitai. They would, these branches are categorized in various ways, showing the importance of the devotees and how they extended the branches to other great souls. Considered to be a branch of both Nityananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Some people say that he was the youngest brother of Jagadish Pandit, whose Shripat residence is in nearby Jashra. According to this opinion, there are 3 brothers in the family, Jagdish, Hiranya, and Mahesh. Mahesh participated in the Chir Dadi Mahotsav, the festival of the chipped rice and yogurt, Shir, in Panihati. After which he followed Nityananda Prabhu to Shaptagram. He was present in Kardha, where Narottam Das came there to pay a visit. And this is from one of the scriptures, Bhakti Ratnakar. Mahesh Pandit, like all of Nityananda Prabhu's associates, resembled him in being extremely magnanimous and devoted to the salvation of all fallen living beings. In his ecstasies of devotional love, he would dance madly. Mahesh Pandit was a magnanimous cowherd boy. In his love for Krishna, he would dance to the sound of kettle drums like a madman. This is given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. His name is also mentioned in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Vrindavan Das Thakur calls him a great soul Paramahatma, Mahatma. And his disappearance day is the 13th day of the dark moon, so it's today. So that's Mahesh Pandit. And then we can have a look at Uddharana Dutt Thakur. He was born in 1481. He was also Dwadas Gopal, lived in Chaptagram, a cluster of 7 villages. He is the 11th among the 12 cowherd boys, and he was known as Subahu. He was raised in luxury within a family of gold merchants. Again, he appeared at the time of Gaur Nitai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda. He later married and worked as a wealthy state minister. The place where he once held office is today called Uddharanapur in his honor. So Prabhupada writes in one of the purports in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Calcutta was developed under British rule by the influential mercantile community, and especially by the Suvarna Vanik community who came from Saptagram to establish their businesses and homes all over Calcutta. They were known as the Saptagram Grami mercantile community of Calcutta, and most of them belonged to the Mulik or Sil families. More than half of Calcutta belonged to this community, as did Uddharana Thakur. And then Prabhupada says, our paternal family also came from this district and belonged to the same community. The Muliks of Calcutta are divided into 2 families, namely the Sil family and the Dey family. So he was in this Dey family, Prabhupada, whose members are intimately connected with the Mohammedan rulers, received the title Mulik. They used to work for the Mohammedans before the British rule. Performing Premanam Sankirtan in Saptagram, Lord Nityananda delivered the entire community of bankers and gold merchants. Uddharana Dutt said that Saptagram is such a holy place that simply by seeing it, one is freed from all sins. Nityananda would often stay in Uddharana Dutt Thakur's home and accept food from his hand. He was a great cook. When he was 26 years old, his wife suddenly died. He left everything to associate with Nityananda Prabhu and preach the glories of Krishna's holy name. He personally installed and worshipped deities of Sadbhuj Mahaprabhu, Shri Nityananda Prabhu, and Gadadhar Pandit. He served Lord Balaram as Shubhahu Sakha in Vajat Leela. And his samadhi is in the 64 samadhis area in Vrindavan. After glorifying Uddharana Thakur as an exalted devotee of Lord Nityananda who worshipped him in all ways, Krishnadas Kaviraj, who is the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, he praises all of Nityananda Prabhu's devotees. No one can count the unlimited followers of Nityananda Prabhu. I have mentioned some of them simply for my own purification. As branches of Lord Nityananda's trees, these eternal associates are full of ripened fruit of Krishna Prem. They gave these fruits to everyone, flooding them with pure love of God. These devotees have unlimited strength to give eternal unalloyed love of Krishna. They can offer anyone prema bhakti. So this is an idea of where he lived. This is a pond near where he lived, and then this is his samadhi resting place here, and temple will be here, which has still his Gaunitai deities being worshipped. And there they are, Gaunitai, and then you got the Sajbhuj, the 6. Well, you got this is Chaitanya, whose 2 hands will be carrying the water pot and a danda. And then you got Krishna carrying the flute, and then you'll have Ram as well. Bow and arrow. And this is his samadhi. There he is. All right. So Uddharana Prabhu ki jai, Datta Thakur ji ki jai. Anybody, any comments or any questions? These three devotees are very special, and it's good to just remember them and seek their blessings and good wishes so that we can progress in our service to Radha and Krishna. All right, so actually, let's stop there.